So like with Christian content, right? Like I feel like a lot of the time people are just really in it for clout. A lot of people, right? Like they use the term Christian and then they just they get a bunch of clout from it, so they just continue, right? But I feel like even this podcast, right? Like I feel like if our heart wasn't in it, people wouldn't watch it. Right. And like, that's what I told Elijah from the very beginning of this podcast. Like, we're just going to go in here. We're not going to go in it to get a million views, a million people, even if 30 people listen each week. It is cool. 3 people listen a week is cool, but it's just the heart behind it. You know, you give it your all, you know, you work with the excellence that God is calling you to work with. And I feel like you could work on marketing, this and that. I'm not saying don't market, but I'm saying like, just letting your content speak for itself, producing quality content that you put your heart into, and you're working with excellence. I feel like it minimizes that cringeness, you know?
Yeah.
Go ahead now.
No. I was just gonna say that it's like, I mean, you hear most, if you listen to most Christian creators who made it big, and they're like, you know, they're not only good but solid in their faith. Most of the time, those are the people who were like working on their stuff for a very long time, doing things for a long time. You got Mike Todd, you got I was just thinking about somebody. You got Kevin on Stage. It's like these are guys who have been in their work, in their craft for a while. Now, and that doesn't mean these people, you know, or people end up doing questionable things, but at the end of the day, they're not out here having like crazy scandals. They're not out here like doing terrible things to people. Like, it's like, because those are people who love their craft, weren't trying to seek fame, and didn't get the fame prematurely because the Lord gave it to them. And I think that's like what is important with a lot of it, when you're reaching after something. Like, I think most Christians have to play the long game. I just don't see God throwing things on you like immediately when you
Faithful in the
first start
least.
something. Exactly. So it's like, unless you were already doing the work and then said, okay, I'm finally going to start this, like there's no way. I personally just don't see God giving you all these requirements and all this responsibility when you're like, oh, I just started making a YouTube, and then all of a sudden it's like 100,000 deep in like three months. It's like, no, like, it's like you had to be in the trenches first, and it's either you're in the trenches when you're doing it, or you're in the trenches before you start it. Either way, you got to be in the trenches.
I agree. Like, it's a slow grind. Like, and I think we don't necessarily like that, right? Like, I think Christian content, you know, the things, I guess, my sphere of YouTube, right, and like, I guess, being considered Christian content in a way on, you know, on this, and also on, you know, Anime Relatable. My biggest pet peeve, and I think it revolves around this like kind of slow grind mentality, is where, like, you know, with Christian YouTubers, where like, if something pops off, right? Like, recently it was like it was Tim Ross, like, in his like comments, his Sugar's comments or whatever. Before that, it was Mike Tyson play. Before that, it was Mike Tyson spitting on somebody. All these different, just like, every single time that these things happen, it just takes one popular YouTuber, aka Ruslan, to cover a topic, and every Christian YouTuber follows suit. And because
Yo, let me tell you, bro, this man lies. He ready to speak, bro. He ready to let this go.
Right? Because it's like, so it's like Mike Todd's name is being circulated around the Christian YouTube space. Everyone's gonna hop on it, and they know that they're gonna benefit off it. Not because I don't want to speak ill, right? But honestly, I'm just like, if one person speaks about it, are you, and you're on YouTube, right? And you need a following. You're a small YouTuber. What's the best thing for you to do, for you to gain followers, for you to gain views, for you to get, you know, to get AdSense on YouTube? Is for you to talk about the most popular thing that's happening. I understand getting on trends and stuff like that. I think that's cool. But if every single YouTuber is talking about the same exact thing and they're not saying anything different, are we in it for actually seeking out truth, or we're in it for the clout and trying to appease our tribe? And
Bro,
content on YouTube cringy to me, at least.
Bro, you know what's crazy? I when you think of the biggest YouTubers, right? There's some really big YouTubers on YouTube that are YouTubers, but they also are Christian, right? And they never make Christian content per se. Yeah, they'll be on interviews and speaking about their faith openly, but like there's some really big YouTubers like
Yeah,
Ryan Trahan, Dude
I
Perfect.
I know that who was it? There's Corey Kenshin.
Yeah, Corey
Uh,
Kenshin.
and then I even know there's a guy named Yo Boy Pizza.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's a Christian, so it's like
Think Media. We literally get advice from Think Media for this podcast. Like Think Media, that dude, the guy who runs that's Christian. Like,
channel.
bro, honestly, Christian's running YouTube, bro. Like those are some of the biggest channels on the platform, bro.
and and that's like just it's. But the thing is, they are out here, like you said, loving what they do, having a good time. Like it's like they're living what they do, and I think that's the thing. I don't think all Christian creators have to be explicitly Christian. Um, I think some creators, some musical artists are explicitly Christian and do it very well. Caleb Gordon is probably
Shout out to
is
Caleb
is
Gordon.
is amazingly explicitly Christian in every piece he does, and does it better
Yeah.
than anybody I've seen. Even like anybody. Like I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like it's like he's
Ain't he
he's
better than me
he's,
though?
he's
Say that. Say that. Say that. Chill, say that.
yeah, I was trying to say. I was trying to say. But no, it's like there. I think there's a way to do it, and I think the way he does it, that's his personality. Like that's his personality. That's his
Yeah,
heart.
yeah.
And I think you're able to make it your heart, and you're able to make it your passion. You're able to make it your talent. But when we start looking at like let's just look at it across like not even like cringy in the sense of like people who are argumentative and annoying like YouTube a lot of YouTubers like honestly they try to get their clout like I don't even know if I want to call that cringy. That's satanic, that's demonic. I don't want it, I don't
Hey,
need it. It's like I don't
yo!
like
You see,
anybody.
this is exactly what I want to know on the pod, bro. This is what I wanted to hear.
But I'm I don't mean to be that direct, but the reality is if you are trying to get every time a pastor messes up, no matter I really mm, if a pastor messes up, if a pastor makes a mistake, look, that dude don't know you. He don't care who you are. He's never heard of you before in his life. More than likely, if you can't reach out to him, one thing I appreciate about Ruslan is that he always clarifies that he lets people know that he reached out to them. He lets his viewers know they reach out to these people. He tried, and if anything, or at least lets people know, hey, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about you today. And but all these other people, it's like, bro, like you're in the middle of Arkansas, like chilling, doing nothing, talking about like Stephen Furtick, bro. He don't know you. Like you're not useful to any conversation. So I'm just saying, like that's straight up demonic. Like you're letting demons use your anger and your frustration like to create strife. And honestly, like the kingdom don't want you. The kingdom don't want that. Like, well, like it's like I'm like I don't want to say no. Honestly, I'm gonna just say like the kingdom just don't want that. The kingdom don't want that. None of us want you. None of us co-sign you. Like it's like you out, bro. Like so it's like until you get your heart right, like you got to start acting better. Like it's like cause to me that's just outrageous. So, but even
Then
outside of
go on. My bad, I cut you off.
no, I'm just saying like even but in the cringy aspect, because like I said, that's cringe I guess in one way, but like it's that's a whole different type of cringe. So it's like this when I think of cringe, I think about the people who make terrible, terrible, horrible TikToks or terrible Christian stories. Um, and it's just like like you could have put more thought into this.
I agree with that statement because like what's crazy, I felt for like almost 10 years I feel like I made really poor Christian content like like for a long time. That's why like with the pod, like I felt like I wanted everything to be like with the heart in it, because I feel like
hmm
a lot of things that I put out on the internet, like whether it be like YouTube videos, songs, like it wasn't good. And like
mm
people would tell me that, and I would take it personally. I'd be like, nah, you just hating. Like like I'm not gonna listen to you, just hating. But then I sat back and I'm like, all right, if if it was like 3 people, I get it. But if like 300 people tell me I'm trash, like I gotta like take some time, reflect, get some opinions. Don't be so quick to push. Like for music, for example, right?
Mhm.
I put out music on like maybe 10 years on SoundCloud, right? Like 10 years, never really got much streams, maybe 100, maybe 1,000 streams here and there.
Mhm.
But it wasn't really like bugging me to put out quality content because it was a free platform. I could just put it out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get better eventually. It wasn't until we got into this age of like DSPs, digital streaming platforms like
Mhm.
Spotify, Apple Music, that I was like, all right, so I'm going on a commercial platform that you have to get accepted by the stores, right? So it's like, maybe I should take some time and get some opinions. Maybe I should pay somebody to mix this. Maybe I should pay somebody to review this. Maybe I should pay
Mhm.
a campaign manager to run the song, help me get it into the right places. And yeah, like it I had to sit back and really validate, like, yeah, my content may have been pretty cringe. It may have been low quality. And it's like, I think, especially if I'm doing this for God, with God in
Mhm.
mind, I have to be working with excellence. I can't just be putting anything out because it's like, I'm saying that I'm representing the kingdom, but then I'm representing the kingdom with what? Like trash, No,
Mhm.
if I'm representing the kingdom, I gotta be kingdom minded in that aspect. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying, but I just wanted to follow up what you're saying too. I was looking at Matthew 18:21-22. It's the parable of the unmerciful servant, right? This is speaking to people who are like, this is just a verse on forgiveness, right? It says, then
Mhm.
Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7? Question mark. Uh, then Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. So
Mhm.
Jesus says this number of 77. You're like, people, some people might take that literal, right? But Jesus is literally saying, forgive your brother, right? And it's specifically using the language, my brother or sister. He's not just saying how much times should I forgive a person, right? Saying how
Mhm.
many, a brother or a sister, right? You
Exactly.
should forgive people, right? But like, this is specifically talking about your brother or your sister in Christ, right? So I think we as the church, we gotta cool it, man. We gotta give each other some grace, because if we act the same way, I mean, if we're acting this way, how, and we're expecting God to forgive us, how does that look? You know what I'm saying? Like in our
Mhm.
own lives, we mess up, right? But then we
Mhm.
look at this person with a platform and we're like, oh snap, like he said this about this group, so I'm no longer gonna associate with him, right? I'm not gonna do it. And all this whole time you're making content to build bridges, but you're burning bridges with the people that you're supposed to be locked in arms with. So
Mhm.
all that to say, go follow Rain the Governor on Instagram, bro.